everyone. Welcome to the sunny side of San Diego. My name is Vinnie. My co-host over here.
I was still waking up, Carini.
There we go. Yeah, I've been up since. Well, I woke up at 3:50, and then I went back to sleep until 4:20, and then got on my routine, did a little working out, had some breakfast, and then did a little work, and then got on this episode right here.
You've got me beat pretty much every day of the week, but that's sleeping in for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so when my girlfriend's a nurse, and so when she's working the night shift, then basically I'll wake up early. I'll set my alarm for like 4 o'clock, and sometimes I've been kind of more getting back on the routine. I used to wake up at like 3:40 pretty frequently, so that's why I put my alarm for 3:40 last night. I was like, you know what, I need to start really pushing it. And so then I kind of put a snooze because my body was just really feeling it. And then, but yeah, I was fairly consistent at 4 o'clock. And then, but on days that she's not working, I'll just let my internal clock wake me up and wake up at like 5:30 or so.
Oh, so internally you don't wake up at the same time, even if you're used to that schedule?
I mean, I'll get a little antsy, but I've kind of on days that I don't put my alarm right now because it's just she'll wake up a little bit later. She'll sleep in till like 7, and so for me, I'm just like, well, whatever. It doesn't hurt for me to just sleep in a little bit later.
Fair enough.
But me, no, I was pretty consistent. I was feeling good about it, waking up every day at like 3:40, doing the gym, getting a routine going, seeing the homeless people, going the going to the restroom outside a place I lived in downtown. It was a good time. And then things change. You kind of have to adapt with your partner and things like that.
Yeah, I'm learning that lesson right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to one of my friends, and it's just you really just have to adapt. You have to find that balance. I mean, you have to find that balance with who you are, and then also kind of what your partner is, and who they are, and what you want to do is not necessarily what is best probably to do together, and things like that.
Yes. All things that I'm learning.
But let's jump into it. And we were talking about the idea of what does San Diego have to offer. One of our listeners, I guess, really enjoyed the idea of us kind of giving nuggets of what San Diego has to offer. And I was really surprised of something we talk about. We've had to remember that not everyone's aware of it. Like the California burrito idea, uh, that not everyone's aware of what a California burrito is, and that it has French fries in it. I'd be curious what other kind of burritos concoctions are out there, because we talked about before up in the Bay Area they do rice in their burrito. I wonder if there's other like the back east. I mean, east, or I don't know, East Coast burrito or something like that, or New York burrito.
Well, not just burritos. You go anywhere, and there's certain things that they're just so familiar with there that it's a part of daily life, daily culture, and it's some of the things that you take for granted or don't realize that other people don't know about.
Yeah, I mean it's. I know when I lived in. I know it's different country, but when I lived in Europe, in Eastern Europe, like goulash, everyone had their own goulash kind of style, and it was just like, oh, this is just the norm. And I mean, I bet if I said goulash here, they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what that is.
I've heard the word. I would imagine it's like some type of porridge type thing, but that's all I can say. And I could be wrong too.
No, you're basically right. It's a really hearty meal with like sauce and like on it, kind of like I guess a gravy on it. I mean, someone might butcher me for describing it incorrectly, but that's the ones I had when I was out there. But yeah, I mean, what are other like if you were trying to describe what San Diego has to offer to someone that's never been to San Diego, how would you describe it?
For me, I think about the things that are the things that keep me here, because I've been having the internal debate of whether or not San Diego is still the place for me, whether or not I want to leave. And so I really had to think about why I want to be here. And the things that keep me here are the zoo. I absolutely love our zoo. It's one of the very best zoos in the country. We are technically ranked number 2 behind the zoo in Nebraska, which I went to visit in Nebraska's home at one point. And it was nice, but I also went in winter. So a lot of the stuff outdoors was difficult to see. A lot of stuff's indoors. So I would still and perhaps I'm biased, but I felt like ours is a little bit nicer, even though theirs was very nice. I think of Balboa Park, which is a place that I frequent often because I run through there all the time on my runs. And I love all the museums there, all the culture, the arts center that they have there. And then I think of beaches, of course, even though I'm not really a beach person, I still recognize that we have all the beaches. I like Ocean Beach, which is one of the beaches that has its own eclectic type of feel and its own special type of niche. And the food, I think of the variety of foods. I think that that's something that's really been in the past maybe 10, 15 years, where now you have the foodies here. You have all the unique restaurants popping up all over the place with gourmet foods and just ridiculous serving sizes, which are things that get me in trouble and make me have to run more because everything is so appealing.
Yeah, I think I mean a lot of the things that you said I'd probably describe San Diego. I think San Diego definitely has, you can go to a lot of different places in San Diego and get a totally different feel. I mean, like you talked about Ocean Beach, right? It has a very warming crowd. You know, you can meet friends really easy there. I mean, they're very open. I mean, that's the way I look at Ocean Beach. And Pacific Beach, kind of similar to that. You know, I mean, there might be more of a younger crowd there. Then you go downtown, it might be a little bit older crowd, a little more business professional. And then you go to La Jolla, it's kind of maybe a little bit different of a crowd. You go to Julian, which is, you know, if you're talking about from the coast east, I mean, about a 40-minute drive. I mean, not too far, places in East County. I mean, I really feel that we have a lot of different communities in San Diego, and it's not too hard to get there traffic wise.
And it's funny, with each of those things that you said, I had a different initial thought that came in. Like you said Julian, I thought apple pie. When you said Pacific Beach, I thought young drunk people that I don't want to be around. When you said downtown, I could smell urine on the buildings, but I could also picture the hustle and bustle of being downtown, the one-way streets that drive up my anxiety, or did for a long time before I really spent a lot of time down there when I did my artist residency. But there is a lot of culture to downtown too. So yeah, every single spot that you mentioned, there were very strong feelings and thoughts that came up.
Well, so it's my real estate side being very protective of not to sway people. In real estate, I'm not allowed to sway people to different areas. And so when you talk about young drunk in Pacific Beach, yeah, that's probably one of the big things. As you get older, you start realizing that Pacific Beach is not a place you want to go drinking at. Maybe when you're 30s, you know, in your 20s, you're like, oh, well, that's cheap drinks and things can get out of control there.
Well, my girlfriend lives there, and she just moved here not too long ago. And so when she told me that she lived there, when we were first talking, I thought, yeah, this isn't going to work. And I even told her that, and she's like, why? And I said, because that area is known for certain things, and they're not things that I want to be around.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think it gets a little out of control there. And yeah, downtown, I think really based off where you're at downtown, you have the homeless people, the homeless population, not to the degree that you think you have in LA. I mean, from the times that I've been up in LA, it's been a lot more so. Yet we are getting that traffic. I mean, it's not as bad as LA yet. I think we're getting more traffic. And we talked about it on a previous episode. If I was going to do anything with someone in San Diego, I would take them to Petco Park. I just think the experience there, downtown, going to a bar, restaurant beforehand, going to Petco, and then finding a place afterwards would be an enjoyable evening. But yeah, you look at everything that San Diego has to offer. I think the one thing that we're missing is really the public transportation. I think we've talked about that before in another episode, is we need better public transportation here.
I dated someone years ago that was from New York, and she emphasized that like no other. She said, the public transportation here is absolutely terrible. You go to New York, it's very easy. You don't need a car. You don't need anything like that. But here you absolutely do. I mean, now we do, since that time, have more emphasis on Uber and Lyft. Yeah. And we have the little scooters and things like that. And so that's another thing that I now associate San Diego with, is the scooters and the bikes and the people that are oftentimes drunkenly riding those things, trying to get hit, trying to get injured. But the other thing I thought was interesting that you mentioned was real estate not trying to sway people. But the truth is that San Diego is such a desirable market. So many people are coming here from other parts of the country, even with all the chaos and the quote mass exodus of people leaving. And I've thought about leaving too. But there's still, I think, more people coming in than people leaving. And so real estate here, no matter what it is, no matter where it is, comes at a high price because it's still considered to be very desirable in relation to other parts of the country because people want to be here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think people want to be here. People want to, take advantage of what San Diego has to offer. And I mean, we're such a big military town. I mean, that's, I think, a big driving force. People drive, like, I've had people talk to me, or clients that I've worked with, where they didn't know what San Diego really had to offer until they got stationed here. And they got a piece of it, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to stay here forever. And really looking at it, because I had a long dialogue with my brother a while back. But we were talking about the idea that there's not a lot of movies that capture what San Diego really has to offer. I mean, there's movies that capture what basically, LA has to offer, maybe the Bay Area, New York, things like that. But I don't think there's not really a lot of movies that capture that. So if you're in the Midwest, if you're back east, you might not really have that big picture. And I mean, we heard it. I mean, at least when they were talking about moving the Chargers to LA, heard it a lot that, basically I heard people talking about how San Diego is just basically proximity to LA. It's kind of like it's next to LA. It's basically kind of LA, not really capturing what really San Diego had to offer.
I always heard San Diego described as more of a retirement community. And yes, like a downgraded LA, a less hustle and bustle area. And I spent my time in LA and I couldn't do LA. I did it during college. And I remember it would take me 45 minutes to go to the grocery store, half a mile down the road just to get there. And I thought, I'm not going to do this. I remember getting on the 405 and it didn't matter what time it was. It was just ridiculous. And I thought, I never want to have to deal with this. And that was predating when we had Google Maps and stuff like that. So you actually had to know directions. And to try to navigate LA at that time, I mean, I can only imagine in the times when all there was a Thomas guide or something like that. And that probably predates pretty much anybody that's going to be listening right now. But I just couldn't do it. It would be so absurd. And there is so much to do there that it's overwhelming. So for somebody like me that's pretty simple and just needs a handful of things, it was just a bit too much for me. And San Diego did feel like a more relaxed type of feel.
Yeah. I mean, again, I've talked about it before. I mean, I've been lucky enough to live in other areas and other communities, and I really feel like San Diego offers those variety of places you could be. I mean, as you're growing up, as you're aging, I mean, there's going to be different communities and different things you're looking for in a community, and you don't have to leave the county. You just have to change the community you're in. So, any
communities coming at a much higher price, though.
Yeah, it can get pretty expensive, and it's funny how in some communities, one street away, the price jumps up by, 5%, 10%. In some areas, even more so. But
does it by street?
Some streets they've been like that. We've seen like over the couple of years and gentrification happening in like Golden Hills area.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a kind of a jump up from like B to C Street, and then like more recently we've been seeing like the divide between City Heights and Normal Heights. That there's a kind of a divide between Alcon Boulevard, north and south, and yeah, you definitely see it in different communities, bases that jump in price.
And I remember when I was a kid growing up that you would hear certain things about neighborhoods and, oh, stay away from there. Oh, that's not a safe area. That's not a nice area. But a lot of those areas have been cleaned up, fixed up. Businesses have moved in. It's really, even though a lot of things have stayed the same, a lot of things have changed at the same time.
I was talking, this has been a long time ago, but I remember talking to someone about this. I don't know if there's a community in San Diego, and it's been like this for a while, I think, where if you don't focus on anyone else, if you just look straight ahead and keep walking, you're going to get in trouble. There's other communities in other areas outside of San Diego that you can keep walking, focusing on yourself and not focusing on anyone else, or you'll get basically in trouble.
Yeah, I believe
so
that.
Yeah, so I think that's one thing that San Diego, even if it's a really quote unquote sketchy area or scary area in San Diego, it's not as bad as some other communities and other areas.
Yeah, I agree.
Any last words, any kind of last ideas to describe San Diego or someone that's thinking about coming to San Diego?
First things I think of, and it's because once upon a time I was a tourist to San Diego. Granted, I was too small to walk. But the things that I think of if somebody's coming here, what are the sights to see? And I think of the zoo. I think of Balboa Park. I think of SeaWorld. I think of the beaches, of course, even though the beaches aren't my thing. So I don't often recommend them because I don't want to have to go with somebody. But those are the things that really hit me. Downtown, I don't know that downtown's a real touristy area. I mean, I guess Petco Park, but not a lot's going on right there. So that's the other thing right now is San Diego during a pandemic is different than San Diego during a time that's not a pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, downtown is definitely less appealing right now with the pandemic going on, and it's going to be more appealing, I think, once this frees up and opens up back up again. Well, if you're thinking about moving to San Diego, if you're curious about San Diego, if you're listening to us because you want to get the vibe of San Diego, hopefully we give you some insight into San Diego and our experience. So thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe, share. If you have any questions, comments, anything that you want us to talk about in future episodes, please reach out. We'd love to be your eyes and ears out this way.
Yeah, and if you come to San Diego, I guess the thing that I really should have promoted you seeing is Carini Arts.
There we go. And if you're looking to make this a permanent stay, give the Enriquez group a call. We'll help you out.
There you go.
There you go. See you guys.